Hello everybody. Welcome back to Backstage Bimbo TV. It's me, Allison Rouse, your most notorious groupie and author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie. Me. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully a rockin' good day. Concerts are coming back. We're so excited. So I'm going to be able to expand some of the content on here and on my Patreon. So excited for concerts. Speaking of concerts, of course, we're going to talk about another one from the 80s. Today on Cocktails and Rocktails, we are going to talk about the only redheaded man worth sleeping with. And we're not talking Axl Rose, because if you read my book, you know Axl Rose is not worth sleeping with. Back then, or now. Ugh, especially now. Heavens no, darling. So, today we're going to talk about my favorite redheaded man, Mr. Dave Mustaine. Now, this is when they were opening up for Dio. Megadeth was still a relatively new band. They had not become the legends that they are today yet. They were on their way. This is February of 1988, and our cocktail for the day is going to be the redheaded slut. Because, well, it's Dave Mustaine. And yes, he was a redheaded slut. And I was the blonde one he was sleeping with in Salt Lake City. So grab your redheaded sluts, everybody. Kick up your feet. Woo. Let's have a story time, shall we? Cheers, big ears. Ooh, that is good. Recipes down in the description. Ooh, yes. And look, folks, look at my boobies. Oh, do you see Lars there? Oh my God, what is this? This is my merch, guys. Like I said, I have cool t-shirts. And a lot of it is based on things that were said by the musicians or a joke I made about them. Like this one is Lars in the 80s, looking coked out. It says, "Got a bump? No? Too bad. I do." Because he actually said that. And he was probably coked out when this picture was taken. Lots more cool stuff, like the Steve Jones t-shirt that started it all. And it's not just t-shirts, it's all kinds of merch. Like I said, descriptions down, or the links down in my description. But let's forget about the merch and Lars on my boobies. Let's remember Dave Mustaine between the legs. Okay, ladies? Alright, so this looks like it was a Monday, so it had to be a Sunday. And my friend Kristen and Tracy and I all wanted to go up. Y'all know Kristen. Tracy was a great friend from high school. She still is. She'd hang out backstage with us sometimes, not all the time. But, so she comes with us this time. She was grounded from her car. My car was being fixed. And, I don't know, Kristen didn't have hers yet. So, we knew that Megadeth and Dio were probably going to be in town. We wanted to go do the rounds, but we didn't have a car. And the only thing I can think of was ask my mom, "Hey, Mom, could you drop us off downtown?" Why? And we lied to her and just said we wanted to go to this local band's practice pad and hang out. Nope, excuse me first. Sorry, I had to burp. Like I said, I'm a lady. Only on Thursdays. Anyway, so we asked my mom to take us down. My poor mom. That woman talked to more rock stars than Eddie fucking Trunk. So okay, I'll take you down. You know, she's going to take us downtown. So we kind of have her do the mini rounds. We're like, take the freeway, get off onto the 6 South exit, go this way, this way. And of course, you know, where do we find them? At the Marriott, and what at the time was the Red Lion. And I've shown you in the previous vlog, the Red Lion and the Marriott, they are literally a block away from each other. So there's a bus in front of the Red Lion. We're all, ooh. And we're like, there they are, Mom, stop, there's the practice pads. My My mom was not stupid. She saw the tour buses too. By this time, she knew her daughter was up to a rock star too, at least. She'd already talked to James Hetfield, for fuck's sake. Not a few others. But so anyway, she drops us off. We get out of the car, and all my poor mom... Sorry, I know, I'm always messing with my bangs. I hate my bangs sometimes. Anyway, all my poor mom sees in the rearview mirror is her daughter and two friends running across the street to that tour bus. And I kid you not, guys, like I say, this is just the way the cookie crumbles. Those guys must... There were people on that tour bus, and they must have seen us getting off of that tour bus, out of the car, because we ran across the street, got in front of that tour bus, and you bet your ass we saw that tour bus door just fly open. That's rock and roll in the 80s. It was that easy. It's that accessible. And it still is. But so anyway, we get on the bus. We introduce ourselves. There's a couple of roadies. And this kind of English guy with black hair and stuff. And cool, we're just hanging out. No idea who this English guy is at the moment. Silly me. Little English guy, you know, we're all just, Kristen and Tracy and I are just talking. We did have a drink. The guys are lighting up a joint. We're getting acclimated. We introduce ourselves. The usual. All these stories start out the same. The tour bus, the hotel bar. They end the same. The hotel bar, the tour bus, and the hotel bedroom. It's one in between that matters, folks. So, anyway. We're hanging out, we're getting our thing on. We decide that, you know, they need to get some weed. Can we get weed? Yeah, of course. The groupies always have a dealer on hand at the time. Not so much anymore with things being legal, and I was never big into any other drugs besides weed. Except this night, I did do cocaine probably 4 or 5 times in my life. That was it. And it was all before the age of 20. So, anyway, we're hanging out, and the guy's like, well, we're just going back to my room at the Marriott. I'm like, oh, and who are you, the tour manager? And he stands up, he goes, no, I'm the bass player. Oh, God, it was Jimmy Bain. But that's cool. I don't need to know who he is because he was with my friend. He was into my friend, Tracy, which cool. Fine by me. I was after Dave Mustaine this night. You know, you guys know me by now. I get someone that I want in my head. It's one track. Done. I'm not into anyone else until I meet that person, and if it works out, cool. If they're assholes, cool, then I'll go wandering off to my second choice or whatever. But so tonight I was, oh God, yeah, I wanted Dave Mustaine. They were a new band. He was just hot. And you know, redheaded guys, the hot ones are very rare, and oh damn, Dave Mustaine. So me and this one roadie, we go up to his room at the Sheraton. I call my dealer. We wait for him. He comes, you know. His name was Domino Dave. He'll deliver in half an hour or less. Pretty awesome. Came in handy. Especially us, because he knew there was probably a band involved. So we get the weed, and I had tripped coming out of the elevator. My heel got caught in the little thingy. So Tracy and Kristen and everybody else made their way to the Marriott, while me and Rhodey went and waited for the weed. Well, as I tripped getting out of the elevator, I sliced my knee open bad. So Rhodey was sweet, got the first aid kit, bandaged me up, you know, put the gauze and the tape on there, made sure I was okay. So I was a bit damaged goods. Probably already was. Well, no, not damaged. Seasoned by that point. So anyway, we go back over to the Marriott, and I just, Rhodey's hitting on me. I'm like, nah. You know, just being cool. I'm not, like, being an asshole to him or anything. I'm just laughing, kind of flirting back, but making it clear that, yeah, no, that's not happening. So we make our way over to the Marriott, and we go up to Jimmy's room and open the door. And there's Jimmy and Tracy and Kristen. And Kristen's talking to Craig Goldie, who is Dio's guitar player, and, oh, he was a pretty boy, too. And I'm kind of looking around the room. I'm like, well, but there's no Dave Mustaine. Wait, oh my God! I was so bummed because we weren't going. I wanted Dave Mustaine, and I didn't think I would be seeing him tonight. And then I look across the room, and in the corner, sitting at the table with the chairs, there's Dave Mustaine. Yay! Mustaine, Dave Mustaine, Dave Mustaine. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. What can I say? That was the 80s. It was just that accessible, and everybody was into playing the band game. And we'll talk about that band game saying later on. So anyway, go in, and I'm wearing this little black dress. You know, little strappy, tight, typical 1980s black dress. With a purple fringe suede jacket. John Bon Jovi had one like it too, but I had it first. John Bon Jovi stole my style. So I walk over and I'm like, oh, there's Dave Mustaine. And Tracy and Kristen are like, watch this. I walk over and he's like, just sitting there, and he's got a pile of cocaine on that table next to him. And I'm like, well, looks like this is the only chair for me to sit. So I just pulled it up and I just faced him and just crossed my legs and was like, hello. I mean, I was never subtle about making my intentions known. And that's how I made my intentions known. And we introduced ourselves. He said, you want some cocaine? Sure. It's probably the second time I had ever done cocaine. Like I said, it was not my thing. I literally did it no more than 5 times in my life. And all before the age of 20. And I had a couple years to go. I was 18-ish about here. Yeah, so sat down, introduced myself. I took off my jacket, and I had this little scarf, you know, tied around the waist, as you did in the 80s. And my dress, you know, Jimmy got us beer, we got acclimated, did a line, there was a joint going, we were rolling some of the weed, you know, just your usual rock and roll party. Chatting it up. I had never had a girl's beer before this night, and didn't know how to open it, so ladies, get a girl's beer. It is a great way to flirt. Be like, could you pop my top? Yeah, okay, thank you. Did that to Dave. He's like, oh yeah, I'll pop your top. And my little black dress, the straps kept falling down, and so I kept lifting him up, and Dave would be like, no, I like it when they fall. So Kristen, she's a Scorpion. She's like me, Virgo. We don't half-ass it sexually. She comes up behind me and just flunk. Top comes down. You can see my boobies right about where Lars is. It was down, so it was this area. And I wasn't wearing a bra or anything because, you know, the dress came really low in the back. And Dave just, that's just exactly what he did. If you've ever seen that Dave Mustaine smile, that's what he did. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, you have great nipples. They're like torpedoes. They're just rock. I was like, oh, cool. Thanks. You know, and pulled it back up. He's like, no. I'm like, no. Like, I'm like, no. You're the only guy that can see those tonight. And he's like, oh, really? And he was wearing a gold band on his finger. Well, ladies, this is where a groupie can only rely on the rock star. I looked at him and said, maybe you'll see him tonight because what's that gold ring on your finger? Are you married? No. And he really was not married. He had not met Pam yet. I think he was actually, had maybe just met his wife, his beautiful, gorgeous wife. She is amazing. But he might have just met her or was dating Doro Pesh or all of the above. I don't know. So Dave was like, no, I only wear this ring to keep the fat, ugly chicks away. I was like, well, I guess I'll go. He's like, no, baby, you're not fat or ugly. I'm like, oh, okay. So we're hanging out, we're doing our thing, we're partying, flirting, cocaine's being passed around, Kristen's joining us at the table, everybody is starting to pair off, you know, Tracy's already with Jimmy, Kristen's with Clive because their keyboard player came in too. I think she was with Craig Goldie, I'm not 100% sure. So, and Megadeth is staying at another hotel, the Holiday Inn, which I've talked about before. Other bands were staying there, where Toby Keith was staying. So Dave's like, you coming with me? I'm like, duh. You were my target the second I walked in this room, dude. You may think that you have reeled me in, but dude, he said, shooting fish in the barrel. So we go back down to the Holiday Inn, and we're on the outside tier where the hotel rooms are. And we're coming up and we run into Junior and their tour manager. Now, like I said, Megadeth at the time was a new band, so they were doubling up in hotel rooms. So Dave was sharing a room with their tour manager, who I'm still friends with to this day, so I'm not going to say his name. We're just going to call him tour manager. And I run into him, and they're standing in the doorway of Junior's room, and they were like, oh, hey, talking, and Junior was like, hi. He's like, you want to come in and do some honey oil? And I was like, what is honey oil? No idea, because I haven't done a lot of drugs in my life. I still haven't. So I was really naive back then. Still am in a lot of ways. But honey oil was heroin, and Dave Mustaine wasn't even having it. He was like, no. He's like, if she doesn't know what it is, we don't need to be turning her on to that habit. Totally protected me from that. Saw that that was not my thing. Thank you, Dave. I mean, he's a totally decent gentleman. One of the sweetest guys you'll ever meet. And I hate to burst everybody's bubble, Dave, but he is incredibly sweet, incredibly respectful, and incredibly intelligent. And one of the things I was really even digging more on him that night, because the conversation was so easy with him. But right now, we were way past that conversation. So we leave them, we go around to the other side and go to Dave's room. Dave and I get it on. And if you want to hear more about that, you guys know to come to my Patreon to hear about the dirty details. So we're getting it on, and we're having a good time. And he tells the tour manager, I'll call Junior's room when it's okay for you to come to bed, because we didn't want to be disturbed, and we don't want to be doing stuff in front of other people in the room. So do our stuff, calls the tour manager comes back, he goes to bed. Dave and I are crashed out in his bed, we're all cuddled up. Tracy's taken off, we're all happy in our little rock star rooms. So a couple hours later, I start feeling it's tapping. Hey, at my feet. What's that? And I'm kind of looking over. I'm halfway asleep. I'm looking over. There's Dave. Okay, his dick isn't that big, and his hands are up here, and he can't be tapping my feet. No, I could feel his feet on my legs because he was trying to keep them warm. So I feel his tap, tap, tap. Allison, just show me your ass. Just here. Would you show me your ass? That is definitely not Dave. I look down at the foot of the bed, and there's tour manager in hand. Just show me your ass. Just show me your... No, brother, no. I was like, oh, no. And that's what I was like, oh, no. I'm like, no, take that away from me. And he's like, oh, come on, just 2 seconds. I was like, no. So Dave, who I think is asleep, but I'm whispering, I'm like, shh, and I'm trying to, nudge him at his knees, the tour manager at his knees, to go, shoo, be gone, go in the, and all of a sudden I hear Dave go, dude, she said no, now take it in the bathroom. So tour manager goes, grabs towel off the little rack outside the bathroom door, goes in the bathroom. You're in tight quarters on the road, ladies. There is no shame, I'm telling you. When you're on the tour bus and you're 16 hours to Fargo and you want to have sex, oh God. Communal living. Yeah. So, but since, we were awake, Dave and I did it again. Yeah. Tour manager came out. We all went to sleep. Did our, like I said, come over to Patreon to hear the dirty details about Mr. Mustaine. Anyway, called the hotel where Tracy was. She came and picked me up. She actually went home and got her car. Came and picked me and Kristen up. Went home, got ready, got back to the gig. Well, and this is before we knew our lovely Miss Awesomeness Davini. One of the Salt Lake City Welcoming Committee, part of our groupie clique, love her. She had the mouth of a goddess, but the language of a sailor, and she was just absolutely beautiful, funny, gorgeous. Really awesome chick. I love her to this day. But so anyway, this is probably about the second or third time I had met Dave and E backstage. And I come in, and there's Dave, and coming off the bus, and Dave and E's laughing and talking to him, and he sees me, and he's like, oh, hey, there you are, and he's kind of looking sheepish. Well, he just got a blowjob from Dave and E. And Dave and E was, like, expecting to hang out with him, as you would, because this is the way it was in the 80s. There was strings attached, or there was rules to this no strings attached thing. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, if he's with someone else, no big deal. I had him last night. How do I taste, hon? Didn't faze me, but no, Dave came right over, and David, he was like, oh, hi. And I was like, hey, how you doing? He's like, oh, this is the girl. My date's here now. And I just kind of looked at David, and I was like, oh. Rock stars, but I have no room to talk because Tesla and Def Leppard, anyone? And like I said, we're not in relationships, but you know, usually there's strings attached. Like if you're with someone, you're with that person, and we'll talk more about that. You don't wander off to be with anybody else. You respect that you are with that person. They will respect that they are with you. Well, not this day, but so Dave and I hung out the rest of the day, and we were both kind of bitchy. We're both Virgos, and we had that cocaine hangover, and he was just kind of, nah, all rumbly, and I kind of was too. So everybody else kind of left Dave and I on the bus to be our bitchy little selves. And yeah, we hung out some more. We had our little bye-bye sex at the end of the show, and you know, whatever. Did our thing. Hung out, had a blast. Like I said, I adore Dave Mustaine. Hung out with him more than this, so we'll talk more about that. And you know, they pulled out of town, met Ronnie James Dio, saw an amazing show, got to know more people. Like I said, I'm still friends with the tour manager to this day, because he also worked with other bands that I knew. Just a really awesome guy, and I had a blast with Dave, and he was very protective, and respectful. And you should expect that out of any man you're with, ladies, whether it be a musician or anybody else. But that is one thing I found in, as far as rock and roll goes, chivalry in rock and roll is a very high bar. It is a very high standard and very hard to meet with most men. I was raised this way, so rock and roll always kept me in a life that I was accustomed to as far as that was concerned, and in other ways. But yeah, so there we go. That's the night I met Dave Mustaine. He is fucking awesome as hell. It was not the first time or the last time we would hang out. It was the first time we met. I mean, I even saw him years and years later after John. We were hanging out with my friend Oris backstage in Nickelback. Fucking Chad, that lead singer in Nickelback, trying to hone in on this picture I'm taking of Dave and Oris. Oris, I want to see that picture. That was the most funniest picture I've ever seen. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed my little rock and roll cocktails and rock tales about Dave Mustaine. Don't forget to press the subscribe button, the like button, and hit the bells. Go check out my merch at Backstage Bimbo Inc. at threadless.com. Oh, and also I wanted to address something real quick before I go. I want to talk about this bitch who just recently left a scathing comment on my Amazon book page. Links down below, people, where you can buy my book, because I have no respect for anybody who does not actually read the book and leaves things calling me a old stripper whore who was turned out by the roadies. You should have kept reading that book, bitch, because the 80s was wild, yes. But even in the 80s, I had relationships, and no roadie ever turned me out, because that is slanderous. That makes me sound like a hooker. And we all know I am no hooker, never have been, and I've taken legal action. And you're probably going to be watching this because you are Pamela DeBar's devotee. Y'all need to back the fuck off me, because you're the ones that are swindled. Sorry. So, no roadie ever turned me out. And like I said, just because their after show passes does not mean I don't have run of my whole world. Because as an empowered woman, choosing my lifestyle and owning my lifestyle and making it what I wanted, didn't matter if it was after show or not. Everybody knew me. I could wander into places like in Las Vegas at the House of Blues. I didn't even need a pass. I would pull up, park by the buses, walk in and say, hey, it's how I met George Clinton. That's a fucking, oh yeah, I didn't put that in the book, but I'll vlog that one later. That was awesome. So to this woman, guy, I don't even know what you are, to this asshole who had to put a scathing review to make yourself feel better because you were swindled by rainbows and kittens and bullshit. Sorry, don't take it out on me, but that's okay. I'm coming for you, honey. Don't think you can hide behind a fake name and a computer. Not with my lawyers. So there you go. Sorry for that little rant, guys. I just get so sick and tired of these fake reviews. I've dealt with them for so long that Amazon does need to do something. Because like I said, you don't have to buy any book on Amazon. You only have to, or read them for free at all. You just spend $5 anywhere on Amazon and you can leave a review for a book. And it's pretty shitty because it can be very hurtful and degrading to many authors, not just me, but I've seen it in a lot of other formats. So to that person and to every one of you who've done that I will have you removed. You are under review right now by Amazon, but make no mistake, I have great lawyers. And what you did was intentional, malicious, slander, and defamation. Look it up. Okay? Alright. Sorry I have to be a bitch, guys. This is something I've dealt with for, it'll be 20 years this Sunday. Because you guys know I record my vlogs a couple weeks in advance. It is June 23rd today. So I'm really sensitive this time of year because I've been dragged through the mud because of John for all these years. And I'm very protective. I'm not a bitch. I don't like to complain. But I'm not putting up with shit. No. And that is a strong, empowered woman. She doesn't put up with your catty, little girl, egotistical drama. And I don't put up with men's bullshit either. Doesn't make me a complaining bitch. Just makes me have self-respect and standards. So, alright. Sorry guys about that little rant on the end. But there we go. Dave Mustaine. You want to hear some more stories? I'm going to be having, who do I have coming up that I have on my roster? I have got some James Lomenzo coming up. I've got the Escape Club. Cheap Trick with Tom Peterson is coming around. More Metallica, some Richie Sambora. Got some more Def Leppard hanging out. Dave Gahan. AC/DC, which was a huge historical moment when kids died at the concert here in Salt Lake City. So hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bells, because you're going to want to hear the stories. These are just the tip of the icebergs. My book, not even half the story. So you're going to hear stuff on this vlog that you don't hear anywhere else. So subscribe and join me on my little rock and roll journey, because it's the real deal. Alright. Cheers, big ears. Thank you to everybody who's been really awesome and supportive of me. I appreciate you all like no other. We will see everybody next week on Cocktails and Rocktails here at Backstage Bimbo TV.